All right, welcome back to American History Gazette. This is our second installment in our Washington, D.C. trip series. This is video number 2, and this is going to focus on the museums. So we just finished up the National Mall, all the monuments. That video you're going to see before this one, so that video is already out. But this second video, we're going to start off with the National Archives, which honestly, probably my favorite museum. There's nothing like seeing the founding documents of our country up close and in person, the real deal. We saw the Jefferson Memorial yesterday. We're about to go see the document that he penned, the Declaration of Independence, with our own eyes, up close and in person. I did do this last September when I went to DC for the first time, and it was magical, just magical. Just seeing it up close in person for the first time is just unlike anything I've ever done. But now we're going back for the video. I don't know if we can video inside. I'm going to try to get video. Maybe I'll get yelled at. Who knows? Don't care. I'm going to try to get it for you guys. We'll see. But super excited for this one, so let's go head over to the National Archives.
This is one of 4 surviving original copies of the Magna Carta, which was a foundational document that established the principle of limited government and laid the groundwork for the modern concepts of justice and individual rights. It was signed by King John of England under pressure from rebellious barons during a time of political turmoil. Here is the rotunda at the National Archives Museum. The Faulkner murals gracing the curved walls of the rotunda were painted by artist Barry Faulkner in 1935 to 1936 and depict fictional scenes of the presentation of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. They are among the largest single-piece oil-on-canvas murals in the United States. Here you have the 4 pages of the U.S. Constitution. This is the supreme law of the United States. These 4 large sheets of parchment define the framework and powers of the federal government. Written in 1787, the Constitution established an ingenious practical system of government that derives its power from we the people of the United States and promotes the welfare of all its citizens. Here is the Declaration of Independence, which, written in 1776, announces a complete break with Britain and expresses the ideals on which the United States was founded. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Arguably, the greatest breakup letter of all time. Here is the Bill of Rights, which protects freedom of speech, press, religion, and assembly, among many other rights. The document is the enrolled original joint resolution passed by Congress in 1789, proposing 12 amendments to the Constitution. The 10 that were ratified became known as the Bill of Rights. The special featured document on display during our visit is the North Atlantic Treaty, which established NATO, a military alliance formed to provide collective security against the threat of Soviet aggression during the Cold War.
All right, just got out of the National Archives. Pretty profound, incredible stuff. I mean, 250 years ago, these dudes sat down and formed a new country, and it's pretty amazing to see the documents they did it on. You know, we saw the Jefferson Memorial yesterday, and it's crazy to think how he just sat down and came up with one of the most infamous documents in world history just out of the brilliance of his own mind, sitting at a desk writing this off the top of his head. It's just absolutely amazing to think how these people thought and how they wrote back then and how they completely formed a new system of government out of nothing, out of a war for independence against a monarchy. It's just absolutely incredible to think about, and I highly urge you guys to really think about this stuff if you come to DC and think about the history and all of its very profound meaning.
Now we are here at the U.S. Capitol building, which serves as the home of both the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. It's absolutely magnificent to see in person. This is the rotunda of the Capitol building with 8 iconic paintings, 4 of which depicting colonization and the other 4 depicting the founding of our country. At the top is the apotheosis of Washington, depicting George Washington rising to the heavens in glory, flanked by female figures representing liberty and victory, fame, and surrounded by 6 groups of figures. Here is the 4 John Trumbull paintings depicting the founding of our country. This is his depiction of Thomas Jefferson presenting the Declaration of Independence to the delegates at the Continental Congress. This is the surrender of British General John Burgoyne at Saratoga, New York on October 17, 1777. Burgoyne's surrender followed battles with American General Horatio Gates near Saratoga in September and October of 1777. With the British losing many men and defenses during both engagements, Burgoyne retreated with a weakened army to Saratoga, where he surrendered to General Gates. This turning point in the American Revolution prevented the British from dividing New England from the rest of the colonies, and it was a deciding factor in bringing active French support to the American cause. This is the surrender of General Cornwallis following the siege of Yorktown, which effectively ended the Revolutionary War and secured victory for the fledgling United States. This is the scene on December 23, 1783, in the Maryland State House in Annapolis, when George Washington resigned his commission as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. The action was significant for establishing civilian authority over the military, a fundamental principle of American democracy. This is National Statuary Hall, which is a chamber in the United States Capitol devoted to sculptures of prominent Americans. Now we are here at the Smithsonian Museum of American History, and this is the display of the original flag still standing at Fort McHenry during the War of 1812, which inspired Francis Scott Key to pen the Star-Spangled Banner, which would go on to become our national anthem. You can't take pictures or videos, but it was an incredible sight to see.
All right, folks, now we're heading to the United States Botanic Garden, which is the oldest operating garden in the United States. It was founded in 1820, which is pretty cool. I'm a huge nature guy, so if you like nature and you come to DC, you definitely have to check this spot out, but let's go check it out. It's extremely humid in here, but feels like home. Being from Florida, we're used to this kind of humidity, so I think we can take it. But it is extremely humid in here. They have like mist pumping to keep these trees and plants nice and watered and moist, but pretty freaking cool. I feel like I'm in the Amazon rainforest right now, exploring, searching for lost treasure or an ancient tribe. It's pretty cool. All right, y'all, now we're about to enter the Holocaust Museum, one of the saddest spots to see here in DC. Very somber, very serious, a lot of death and tragedy, but let's go inside and let's check it out. Pretty interesting story about this division here. The 45th Infantry Division, who liberated Dachau concentration camp. I had Alex Kershaw on the podcast to talk about this. He wrote a book called The Liberator about Felix Sparks, the division commander, and his experience from the beaches of Sicily to the gates of Dachau, so I highly recommend you guys go check that out. So that wraps up our second video in our Washington, D.C. series, our museum video. We got to see a lot of cool museums. We didn't get to go to the Smithsonian of Natural History, which is like the biggest museum in D.C. due to time constraints, but that's okay. We like to focus more on the history related stuff anyway. We did get to check out the Smithsonian of American History, but only for a very small amount of time due to time constraints again. I just wanted to go check out the original flag that was still standing after the barrage by the British at Fort McHenry, which inspired Francis Scott Key to write our Star-Spangled Banner. They have the original flag at the Smithsonian Museum of American History. You're not allowed to video it, which was unfortunate, but I got to see it with my own eyes, and it was crazy. It was absolutely beautiful. It's giant, it's battered, but
that was really cool because I didn't get to see that last time, but we got to see the National Archives Museum, the Holocaust Museum. We got to go into the Capitol building, which is something that I didn't get to see last time, to see Statuary Hall and all of the iconic paintings, especially John Trimble's iconic paintings from the founding of our country. His iconic Declaration of Independence scene is probably my favorite painting of all time. It's the thumbnail of my first ever YouTube video, a documentary about the Declaration of Independence. But it was kind of unfortunate because the Capitol tours are not self guided. So you're kind of rushed through and you're not able to wander around and really take in what you're looking at. But we still got to see Statuary Hall and the Rotunda with that beautiful painting up in the Rotunda of George Washington ascending into the heavens. It was crazy to see. It was magnificent, very Roman Empire, very resolute and strong and grandiose. So that was amazing to see. I definitely urge you guys to get a Capitol tour. We didn't have any reservations and we were able to walk right in, which was really fortunate. But the Capitol was absolutely beautiful. We got to go to the U.S. Botanic Garden as well, which was absolutely amazing. It's the oldest operating public garden in America, founded in 1820. And if you're a huge nature guy like myself, you have to go to the Botanic Garden when you go to DC. They have probably hundreds of thousands of different plant species from all different ecosystems and habitats. It's huge. They have an indoor greenhouse complex. They have an outdoor garden. It's absolutely beautiful. So many different plants and flowers. I love that stuff. So that was really cool to check out. But that wraps up the video, guys. That's our second video in our DC series of all the museums. If you did like the video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button below. Make sure to check out our podcast where we host weekly episodes interviewing best-selling authors and expert historians. If you want to support the channel so we can do more travel stuff like this, our Patreon is in the description. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on our next adventure.